Hey, Chris, thanks for making some time this morning. We appreciate it. Through three games, how would you evaluate the performance of the team? And do you feel like the results have been, have the results really justified the performances of the team?
I think each game we've grown a little bit. Obviously, with the first few games being ones where you try and build chemistry as best you can. But no, I would say that the scores themselves haven't been representative of the effort and the outcome of what we've put out on the field. I know that there's a lot of people talking about the actual points we've gotten away from those three games, but I will say that I have seen growth. The coaches have seen growth, and us as players have seen growth in the chemistry, the effort, and tactically and technically what we're trying to do on the field. So I would say they have not been very representative of how we feel we've been doing, but sometimes that's just the game of soccer.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Joe Chats from On Tap Sports.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Chris. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, just fine and dandy. Always appreciate your time.
Of course.
Chris, you say you're seeing progress. 1.9, sure, I'll bring that up, of course. But are you seeing frustration from your teammates? Are you seeing motivation from them based on these results? How's the response been?
After each game, it's a little bit of frustration. I mean, as you can imagine, and I'm sure as some fans are feeling as well that scores haven't gone our way. But that frustration, like you said, quickly turns into motivation when we get right back into the work week. Looking forward to Montreal. We're quite eager to get back out there and reclaim 3 points on our home turf. So yeah, no, I mean it's definitely replaced with motivation pretty quickly. I know, like I said, everybody's eager, everybody's anxious to get back out on the field and prove what we should have proved these last three games, which is that we're a team that gets 3 points every game.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Alex Campbell from CHGO.
Morning, Chris. Thanks for taking the time for
Mhm.
us. I know we all appreciate it.
Yep.
I wanted to ask, there's been a lot of discussion about Ryan Needs coming in as the set piece coach this season. On the defensive set piece side of things, for you as a goalkeeper, what's your role? Has the way you look at those situations and the way you approach them changed at all since Ryan's come in this offseason?
He's asked me to be a little more vocal about things, be a little bit more of a leader back there when it comes to those defensive set pieces. But I really like Ryan. I know the rest of the group does as well because he's very clear in the way he'd like to do things, especially with the system he's come in and implemented this season. So, I mean, in the last few years, it hasn't been as clear, but having a specific set piece coach always helps. And I know right from the get go, first week of preseason, he knew exactly what he wanted to do and not changing for anybody. So yeah, I think that's something we all really appreciate, especially when things don't go our way or things maybe do go our way. Not switching it up and making sure that the system stays the same so that everybody's familiar with it. So we're all very happy with it, and I think, yeah, like I said, he's asked me to be more of a leader, a little bit more vocal, but it also takes a little bit more film work, a little bit more studying, especially with different opponents every week. So that's something I do with him, working just to see tendencies that teams will do on their attacking set pieces, things we need to look out for, and then just different things that I need to remind our defensive, going into each different type of set piece that we might face throughout the game.
Thanks, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Alex Calabrese from Men in Red 97.
Hey Chris, how you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. The Olympics are coming up later this year over the summer. I know there's a camp next week that you're probably not going to be at. How do you feel about that tournament? And is that a team you want to be involved with?
The Olympics, you mean? Like how do I
Yes, the
feel about that
Olympics.
tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, if I can go, I'd love to go. I love to represent my country, and that's, everybody's dream is to become an Olympian. But like I said earlier in past interviews, that's kind of up to the coaches, up to the national team and their decisions. So if I do get called in and I am able to go, I'll represent the city of Chicago the best I can. If I don't, I know we have Leagues Cup and a couple more games to play during that time frame. So get some points.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And now we'll go back to Brian Sandelow.
Thanks, E. Just a little bit off topic, a little bit. This game Saturday is an afternoon game, which is a very rare thing now in MLS. Is that something that you would prefer? And also, last year I think you guys had one, maybe two afternoon games. How much does it kind of mess with your circadian rhythm, and how do you change? How do you adjust when you play an afternoon game, considering that all the other games are 6:30 or 7:30 at night?
Yeah, I personally prefer the earlier games, so the afternoon games. I know we don't have many throughout the season, and because almost all of our games are played at that 6:30, 7:30 time slot. I've grown kind of used to it, and something that I have to do then for those games is just kill a lot of time throughout the day waiting to go to the stadium. But yeah, for those early games, I think the benefit is, you maybe wake up, have breakfast, and you get to go. Like there's no time wasting. There's no waiting to see how the day might end up. So yeah, there's no time killing. There's just wake up, breakfast, head to the stadium, play a game, and then you still got the rest of your day. So I personally like that. Some guys like the night games better, especially I know the ones coming from Europe, they prefer the later games because I think that's what they're used to. But yeah, I mean, I'm game for whatever though.
Thanks.
Thank you. And we will go back to Joe Chats.
Thanks, E. Thanks, Chris. Couldn't leave you with only one.
There you go.
Curious, you've had a couple different defensive pairings in front of you between Tobias, Rafa, Mauricio, obviously Andrew getting injured, and Alan Aragoni coming in the lineup. How, with the need to be more vocal, has that been with adjusting to new defenders and new center backs, new outside backs? Nothing that's easy in the short term.
Yeah, it's important, but I'd say it's becomes increasingly obvious that these guys that you just mentioned have made it really easy on me. They're very big on communication, so they're open to listening to things, and they're very clear if they need to tell me something that they'd like to change. So obviously, communication's a big component of the game, but it helps having defenders in front of you who are willing to talk with you rather than talk at you or not listen. So I mean, it's, like you said, with Toby, Mauricio, Allen, Gutman, Chase, Wyatt, Rafa, whoever's in there, I know that they're going to give 100%. Two, they're very clear in the way they want to do things. They're very communicative, and they're social about how they feel, which is something I appreciate, because a lot of times if you get defenders who are kind of quiet, it doesn't help that you don't know how they feel about certain things. So that's not something I have to worry about. And yeah, it just makes my job a little bit easier. But communication's always massive.
Of course, and Tehran's always the quiet one, I assume.
He's very, very loud.
Thank you, Joe. And we will go last question to Alex Campbell.
Thanks again, Chris. I actually wanted to ask something a little more specific. I mean, not just about, obviously you'd like to go to the Olympics, but I'm curious, maybe a year and a half ago, it was kind of you and Gaga were the two names who were kind of splitting all those minutes for those U23 teams. And then this last weekend, you get to match up with a guy like Patrick Schulte, and that group has just kind of grown over the last year and a half of guys vying for that spot. What kind of motivation is that when you see that there really are, guys everywhere now getting these
like you said,
opportunities?
a year and a half ago, there weren't many guys in that goalkeeper pool. But for me, it's just added competition, and you get that extra chip on your shoulder, especially when playing league games against guys like Patrick. Great guy, but he's one that definitely pushes me to play at my best. Like you said, when Gaga was still here, pushed me a lot. John Poolskamp, who's been in the pool, whenever I get to touch base with him, I know we will during Leagues Cup. If I play, he's one who's definitely pushing me to be the best goalkeeper I can be. So yeah, those are just a few examples of guys who push me. It's just added competition, really. Just increases the level of competitiveness within me.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.